Did Yeshua really exist? What about the historical Jesus research? The so-called historical Jesus scholars base most of their theories on tabulating the frequency of sayings in the various texts we have. They assume that the more times a saying is repeated, the more likely that Jesus actually said it. This assumption, the doctrine of multiple attestation, became almost an article of faith for a while among certain scholars who embarked on the search for the real Jesus through an ever-decreasing selection of his sayings and stories. Some people have proposed that the sayings and acts attributed to Jesus in the Gospels were put together by a committee or channeled by later followers who then assigned these channelings to a fictional individual. This, as is evident from what I have presented so far, is clearly not my point of view. Some flesh and blood person existed, one who had a connection with the unseen worlds of Allah's reality, and then made that connection available to others over the centuries. Such connections are not exclusive to Yeshua's way. They are part of our human heritage. Yet, as I hope to show, Yeshua's Shem, the atmosphere, light, and resonance he offered, was in fact unique. It also opened a door for others to, as he said, do the works that I have done, and greater. John chapter 14, verse 12. Another assumption of historical Jesus scholars is that Jewish and Christian communities separated very early after the time of Jesus. This turns out to be an illusion. Most scholars now admit that the word translated Jew in the New Testament Greek of the Gospels is a mistranslation of the word Judaios, meaning Judean, a person residing in a geographical area rather than a member of a specific religion or ethnic group. The same is also clear from the Aramaic version. This tragic mistranslation helps to put in perspective 1,500 years of blaming and justifying the persecution of all Jewish people, however identified, for the crucifixion of Jesus. The Jewish scholar Daniel Boyarin proposes, based on overwhelming evidence, that what we presently call Judaism and Christianity both emerged from a mingled hybrid identity that only slowly divided, a process that lasted up until the time of Constantine in the 4th century CE. What we currently call the Jewish religion did not begin to evolve into its modern form until after the destruction of the Jerusalem temple by the Romans in about 70 CE. Early rabbis like Rabbi Akiva revived and reformulated the ancient Hebrew scriptural tradition into one that could survive without a central shrine. All of this occurred a generation or more after the time of Jesus himself. What we find at the time of Yeshua are multiple competing forms of late Hebrew religion or spirituality. Various contenders believed themselves to be the real inheritors of the traditions of Moses and the biblical prophets, and some groups even contested the status of the ancient Judean kings, like David and Solomon. Placing Yeshua in such a diverse, hybrid context again argues for reviewing his sayings and actions from within a Semitic cosmology and psychology, themselves rooted in the language he spoke. The core of Yeshua's way, the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. Yeshua offered his most well-known prayer in words. Yet those words describe a wordless, inner contemplation that unfolds step by step. This prayer, quoted in Matthew and Luke, begins in praise of reality itself, first steeping us in a sense of awe and mystery about the ongoing creation of the cosmos. This awe, with a sense of love, is the essence of praise. When we develop awe or wonder, admitting that we can't grasp everything with thoughts, our consciousness creates space to receive. This is the second step. The third step is equally important. We gain clarity about what life calls us to do. The prayer then proceeds to increasingly practical petitions. Let this happen. Give us, forgive us. and finally returns to praise at the end.